A lot of people will be real vexed that we don't have this man in either of our top 10 lists.
You've got two people at the peak of their creative game, arguably the most creative people in that genre at the time. Number one of all time.
No.
What's wrong with that now?
No. Hello, welcome back to the Man Overboard podcast. Another big ranking episode. We did the top 10 pop punk albums of all time. This week, we're doing the top 10 rap / hip hop albums of all time. I feel like they kind of come under a similar genre, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of albums in this list that I think we're going to find might also blend into another genre partially, but we'll see. We'll see what each list holds. And I think to kick it off, we'll go in with Joe's number 10.
And my number 10 is 2001 by Dr. Dre.
Right, okay.
Going straight in there. Dr. Dre, obviously amazing producer. Tim's already hitting the mic.
Fucking hell.
Dr. Dre is an amazing producer and an amazing rapper. I feel like his albums maybe go a little bit underappreciated and everything else he did within the scene is appreciated more, at least by modern rap fans, whereas he was one of the ones that paved the way, changed how rap sounded. Some of my top tracks from this album, The Next Episode featuring Snoop Dogg. I think this has one of the most legendary beats in rap history. The dun, 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 dun. So that little piano bit is unbelievable. Next track, still Dre, still DRE. Another banger, you know what I mean? You can't deny it. But people don't mention Dre in the rapper conversation a lot of the time for some reason.
No, a lot of people seem to put him under the producer tag, which is a bit unfair considering he came out the gates as a rapping producer. You know, he's doing a bit of both. Whereas in the past, like 10 to 15 years, he has kind of gone down the route of production. But he released like that Compton album where he had a bunch of features from Detroit rappers and that. So I think it is unfair when people leave him off lists because this is the fucking Chronic 2. Like, and this is a seminal album.
Many people may say that they forgot about Dre, which is the third best song on this album, in my opinion.
That was good.
But yeah, I just think 2001, very underrated, deserves a spot in the top 10. I considered a few other Dre albums on there. Is it the Chronic? Is the one that...
This is the Chronic 2.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
or
there
the Chronic
go.
2001 is what it's called.
So I considered the first one, but this one took it for me. What's your number 10, Tim?
My number 10, we're going to start off here in the jolly old country that we live in. So this is a very large UK hip-hop /
Wow.
You know, it's a hip-hop artist of sorts. And we're going in number 10, The Streets, with original pirate material.
Do you know what?
Come on, out the gates.
I was not expecting that, but I'm not angry about it.
There we go. So this was probably, I reckon this album was the forefront of hip hop in the UK. It was the first breakout. And at the time, Mike Skinner said that he hated hip hop and that sort of stuff. So when it first came out, it was more garage infused and, a bit more soul, and not really soul, but like grime, garage, hip hop. It was all melded into one. And over the past, 20 years that it's been out, it released in 2002, which is so long ago now. It's kind of been redefined as like a hip hop album rather than what it was initially.
One thing I love about The Streets as well, and obviously Mike Skinner in particular, I feel like this album and his lyricism throughout most of the Streets projects, it's more just like, I went down the calf and I nearly got in a fight and then I met this girl that I really liked.
Yeah.
And it's all just normal things that
bars
people
there,
do.
Bro.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think that's one of the main reasons why The Streets never broke the US, was because all the music is about storytelling of a UK life. So I think it's not really something that can be relatable to people across the pond. But the top 3 tracks off this album for me, we've got Don't Mug Yourself. That's got to be up there. Fucking fantastic. Geezers Need Excitement, which I was surprised is like the 5th or 6th most listened to song on this album, where I expected it to be
I don't know that
much
one off the
higher
top
up.
of my head.
Geezers Need Excitement. If their lives don't... Yeah.
I don't know it, sorry.
Okay, yeah. And then The Irony of It All, which is my personal favourite track off that, which is the one about the alcoholic versus the weed smoker. It's like, my name's Terry and I'm a law-abiding citizen. I don't do that. I fucking adore that. I think that's great. And this is definitely the album that kicked off, the kind of hip-hop scene in the UK and kind of started to bring it to the forefront. So... I think that's a solid picking for number 10. Yeah,
I'm all here for it.
So I think the way that we should do it, artist name, then album name.
All right.
So then it's a bit more, who's it going to be?
Okay,
What album is
okay.
it going to be?
Number 9 then,
Yeah.
for me. You'll be surprised by how low this is.
Well, I was surprised by how low 2001 is because that's a fucking seminal album. But we'll
There's
see,
better.
we'll see.
There's better.
Yeah, all right.
Number 9
Yeah.
is Kanye West. The College Dropout.
Right, okay.
I-
That's surprising for me.
Yeah.
Because for people that don't know, Joe is a very large Ye fan. And,
Yeah, well, I want to preface that by
clarify
saying
it. Yeah.
I love
Clarify
Ye's
this.
music,
Yeah, there
not
we
his
go.
views.
Yeah,
I feel like you got to put that in there now. But the College Dropout changed the game completely. I think it's easy to say now looking back at it, but at the time, it was the first big rap album that wasn't like centered around a lot of violence and stuff. Top 3 tracks for me, Jesus Walks, which in itself says that. It was
Jesus Walks.
one of Kanye's biggest songs, one of his biggest belters, and it's about Jesus, which at the time in the rap scene was completely unseen, deserves a massive shout out. Second favorite song for me, All Falls Down. Another timeless track. Everyone knows it to this day. You hear it getting bumped on the radio up to now, even when Kanye's a wrong'un.
I'd probably say that might be one of his biggest tracks, like
Oh, it
most
is.
well-known tracks across the board.
As is the last one, which is Through the Wire.
Yes. Oh, what a fucking track that is.
And obviously, Kanye was known a little bit as a producer before this. He produced for Jay and a few other rappers. And then obviously, this was his first proper project by himself. And I think the production on this really shines through. It's a unique sound, and everyone recognized that at the time. And it's just an amazing album. And it set the path for Kanye's career, which from that point has been game-changing album after game-changing album. A lot of Ye albums you can look back at now and say 808's changed the game, Yeezus changed the game, College Dropout changed, and this was the first time he did it. So
Yeah, there's got to be in there.
Yeah.
A fun one with Through the Wire, though. You know the history of that track, which is about when he got in the car crash and he fucked his face up. Have you heard the version of Through the Wire that he recorded
While
when he
his
still
face-
had his face masked up? And you think, this guy just had nothing can stop him. He can't be stopped. He's just going to continue to make music, even if his mouth's fucked up. Like, fair play.
big ups to Ye. Number
Big
9
ups.
though. So
Number 9 for me. Here we go. So we've got Aesop Rock. Now, this is one that you're not going to have on your list at any point. And we're going with Labor Days, which was a 2001 release. So this was the breakout album for Aesop that put him on the map. And it kind of like jump-started his career. He had an album before this, but this was the one that kind of moved him forwards and got recognition for it. It's super great, iconic songs. This album and later works have gone on to inspire a lot of big rappers themselves. Like Mac Miller had a line like "Rock Like Aesop" or something like that, and he's been referenced in big rappers' tracks. So I think this album probably had more of an influence on rap as a whole than people give it credit for, purely because it's too underground to be classed as a big hit.
I was going to say, I want to hate on you for this one because I don't really know it. And I'm already waiting until the end of the list when I go, I can't believe you put in Aesop Rock and you didn't put in, but I just don't know it.
Yeah,
So.
I think with Aesop Rock, you'd struggle to have an argument against it being in the top list, but there's also arguments for it not being in the top list. It's one of those albums that, it just stands the test of time. And for Aesop Rock and how lyrical he is, it's all shown on this. He's got the widest vocabulary of any rapper ever, the most words used across his discography, and this was the thing.
What are the big bangers, Tim?
So the big bangers here, we've got Daylight, fucking fantastic track. No Regrets, which is a track about
Dappy. No regrets.
Oh, true.
No regrets.
No, not quite. It's a track about a little girl who does some art. She's a bit of an outcast. She stays in her house, and it's about her growing older and going through her life, and it's a really cool storytelling song. And then 9 to 5 is Anthem, which is about fuck working, basically, and how shit it is, and just the album from top to bottom, lyricism, beats, flows, it's all there. It's such a good album.
All right, well, it's one I'll have to check out. I'm not going to hate on it because I've heard of him for some reason, but I don't know why.
Well, he is one of those rappers that people know, but they never listen to him because rappers have spoke about him, but not got into him.
And we're here at number 8.
Here we are.
You see, I said to Tim before we started recording this that it was really hard for me to pick a 10th to 5th because a lot of them are interchangeable and there was loads that I wanted to include in that section. I think 5th and above's quite easy. And this is one where I think it could even be like up to top 3.
Well,
it definitely deserves a place.
On the flip side of that, top 3 to top 5 is harder to pick than the bottom 5, but we'll see.
My number 8 is Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
Good Kid, Mad City.
Okay.
A lot of people prefer To Pimp a Butterfly over this, and I think that that's a deeper album in terms of lyricism and the subjects that are talked about or represented within the tracks. But I personally just prefer Good Kid, Mad City. I think that there's more bangers on there. There's more feel-good tracks. And I think for Kendrick, it was probably his biggest album at the time. Obviously now there's been, you would say Damn is probably his biggest because that was like radio play, number one tracks.
Humble.
But Good Kid, Mad City was where he had those original songs that took him to a new level. And those songs for me are Mad City itself, it's just a big belter. Second, you've got The Art of Peer Pressure, which I think it's a really good storytelling song. I absolutely love, it's not even one of the bigger songs on the album by quite a distance, but I love the story that's told throughout and the way that Kendrick kind of puts in messages of this isn't how you should be living your life, but it's kind of normalized. And anyway, a big banger. And third is Money Trees for me.
Yeah, that's just a tune through and through.
I think that this is one of those albums, top to bottom, really, is just fantastic. It's one that should be listened to as an album instead of as for the singles.
Well, it's got a narrative flowing through it, hasn't it? It's following, the storyline of a guy. And I think the storyline is fun enough that it gives it replayability at the end of the day. So when you come back to listen to it, you go, oh, there's a linear story to this. And follow it through.
You hear new bits you forgot about last time or that you didn't pick up on last time.
Yeah.
It's just really good. The production's nice. It's not too over the top a lot of the time. There's a couple tracks on there that I feel like haven't aged so well, like very heavy beats, but that's fine. That happens with pretty much every album. So Kendrick in at number 8.
Okay, so number 8 for me now, we're going in with The Beastie Boys, License to Ill. Now, this album was released in 1986, which is such a fucking long time ago now. And I mean, it was a long time ago, 20 years ago. It was still a really old album. And, it was so important for hip-hop when it was released because there was nobody else doing that style. And it was these 3 white boys that came from nowhere, but they were fucking destroying these weird and strange beats and trying out new stuff. And you had Ad Rock and you had everybody in there, Mike D, all the different, the 3 B-boys. And yeah, just through and through, possibly one of the best party albums to ever been released. I think you can get hype to every track on the album. But the top 3 tracks for me from this album would be Brass Monkey, which is just amazing. No Sleep Till Brooklyn, which of course has to be in there.
Timeless classic. Everyone knows that to this day.
Fight For Your Right, which again, timeless classic. And this is 1986. If you think of those songs in your head, we got to fight for the right to party. 86, you think 90s, not for 86. These guys were so ahead of the time that, I mean, they were respected at the time as well, but I feel like it's just aged like fine wine. And the further we get from it, the more you realize, holy shit, they were ahead of the game.
It's true. When you listen to the Beastie Boys now, the fact that production and that style of rap was really created by them, you can still hear it when you listen to the albums now. It's mental. It is. I don't have them on my list, but maybe I should.
You should.
That's one where I could take the other ones that I have are all big shouts anyway, so I'm not upset about it, but valid shout.
Yeah, and honourable mention for a track is Girls, which is the one that goes do 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 do.
Oh, I thought you meant Just Girls Breaking Hearts.
No, what the fuck? Yeah, Beastie Boys did that one. No, Girls is a fucking weird track, but it's so fun. Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah. No, I love the Beastie Boys. I'm here for that shout.
Yeah.
Number 7, Tim.
Oh, we're getting high up the list now.
This is the point where I think people will start really going, no, this should be higher, this should be lower, this shouldn't be on the list. But this is one that really is definitely deserved of a place on the list. And it is Tupac, All Eyes on Me.
Oh, okay.
Number 7, though, maybe seems a bit low. Random fun fact about Tupac that I discovered whilst I was researching this episode. Did you know that Tupac once auditioned for Mace Windu in the Star Wars film?
No.
Swear to God.
Did he actually? Yeah. What the fuck?
I had no idea about this. I mean, it's obvious. It was Samuel Jackson who got the role in the end. Obviously a fantastic actor, but yeah, Tupac actually rehearsed for Tupac. And Tupac rehearsed for Mace Windu.
So if Tupac had got the role of Mace Windu, do you think Mace Windu would have still had the purple lightsaber that Samuel Jackson requested? Or do you think he would have just been a normal fucking guy?
See, this is one of those.
Fucking hell.
Who knew? That's a mad fact.
That's good. I like that. Yeah. And he also had a fling with Jada Pinkett Smith.
Oh yeah, he did. He did. Well, apparently that was the love of her life.
Yeah. He got away from that one, didn't he? Fucking hell.
Rest in peace to Tupac. But my top songs on this album, we've got I don't know how to say this. It's Ambitions of a Rider, but it's spelled Ambitions as a Rider. I don't know if it's as or of. I'm guessing it's of. Big tune, All Eyes on Me, which to me is Tupac's biggest track, but I don't know if it is technically. But again, another great song.
I'd say Ambitions is bigger, personally.
Yeah, or
But
maybe even
that's just because
Changes.
I've listened to it more. Changes, actually, yeah.
Yeah, but I really like All Eyes on Me. And then Only God Can Judge Me, which is a little bit more of a deeper track from Tupac. But again, an album which at the time, especially in America, maybe not in the UK so much, there was a lot going on in the rap scene, and Tupac was at the forefront of that. And obviously his death probably amplified him even further than he already was. But I think people forget just how big he was whilst he was alive.
Yeah,
he was
I mean,
huge.
him and Biggie were like at the forefront of the game, and then there was somebody else slightly behind them in the way of P. Diddy, Puff Daddy at the time. And shit's come out recently where people are thinking, you know, there might have been some link between P. Diddy and what happened to Biggie and Tupac, but we'll never know. But it's
Right, let's
shrouded in
right.
mystery.
not
Why don't
get
you want to
into Diddy.
talk about that?
I just don't want to talk about Diddy because he's a proper wrong one by the looks
talk
of
about Meek
things.
Mills. Usher.
Anyway,
So, my number 7 pick.
I'm waiting for a proper criminal shout from you so far.
Dr. Dre, The Chronic 2001.
Oh,
Yeah,
all
much
right.
higher up than yours, because I think it's criminal to put that in at number 10. This is what put gangster rap over well-produced beats. This was the album that brought that all together. The sound of the album as a whole is... well, it stands the test of time because they're Dre beats, and he produced it so well, and it all flows so nicely that the sound quality, even today, sonically sounds fucking fantastic.
It's also wild how much of a media mogul Dre went on to become. Obviously, he's been a part of a couple of films, and then the beats themselves, the headphones,
Beats
sold
by
for
Dre.
billions, and there's still even to this day a thing that Apple market. It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah, proper crazy. And I think this album set a new standard for how projects should be going forwards, because the lyricism, again, the flows, the production of the tracks, seminal. Like, this set a stepping stone for all future albums to be like, oh shit, now we've got to compete with that. Fuck me. So my top tracks on this next episode: Forgot About Dre, Still DRE. Honourable mentions, which is What's the Difference and Bang Bang, because I fucking love Bang. Bang Bang, chicka bang bang. Such a good track. And yeah, we spoke about it when you said it. I think it deserves higher than where you put it, but I'm not mad because it's at least on your list.
It was very close to not making it at all.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, with it being number 10.
Yeah.
But, you know, you've got some brownie points there. So we'll move on to number 6.
Number 6. It's a man that we just mentioned a few seconds ago, and it's the notorious B.I.G. or Biggie, and it is Ready to Die.
Okay, yeah.
Again, I feel like having Tupac and Biggie 6th and 7th could upset a lot of people, but their influence is undeniable, but I don't think that they're the best albums out of this list. Obviously, that's why they're in this position. The top 3 tracks for me is Juicy. It's a fun track. So it's just it's a good track. You got Big Popper. Is it Big Popper or Big Papa?
I think it's Big Papa.
It is Popper, but do you say Popper with the O?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's
That's
weird.
how it's spelled.
That's
though,
a very
isn't
American word, though,
it?
isn't it? Popper.
Popper.
It's not something you say in
Popper.
the UK.
Popper.
And then the last track, and actually, I think this is probably my favourite just because it's a little bit deeper. It's Suicidal Thoughts. And I think actually as an album, this is a very good listen. I think it's probably better than All Eyes on Me in terms of a full album, but maybe not for the individual singles. Again, Biggie, he had a unique flow. He had a different sound to a lot of the rap that was around at that time. Probably similar lyrics in terms of what he was talking about, but he sounded a bit more jivey, a bit more fun, and I think he definitely deserves a place on the list.
Yeah, definitely. And my favourite Biggie track is Dead Wrong, purely because of the M feature. But that track, it was sad that they couldn't do more because of Biggie's passing, that he didn't get to collaborate with more artists, because there was so much potential there. And were they both in their 20s, weren't they, both of them?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Or
like
early
late
30s.
20s or something like that. Yeah, it's so sad that.
It is. It's really sad.
We'll move on to my number 6 now.
Tim, we're getting to crunch time. Who's number 6?
Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City, released in 2012. So this, I could have chosen To Pimp a Butterfly like you would have, but this kind of, I feel like To Pimp a Butterfly encompasses a lot of other genres and inspirations into the tracks, and it feels a bit further away from hip hop, whereas Good Kid, Mad City feels like a hip hop album. You know, it was made with the intention to be more hip hop focused. And the production's flawless on it. It's Kendrick, so he has to be on the list somewhere. Like, I couldn't not include a Kendrick project on here. And yeah, the accessibility for it is definitely into its credit. A lot of people will say having a hip hop album that's accessible is a downside to it because they've tried to pander to the masses. But I would personally say that the accessibility kind of ramps it up because it allowed more people to get into that style of music. So that was always good. My top tracks on this are Money Trees, Mad City, obviously, and then Swimming Pools.
Oh, Swimming Pools is good.
So fucking good. Honourable mentions is Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe.
Drank.
Bitch Don't Kill My Drank. But yeah, overall, you know, I couldn't not include Kendrick. It was either that or To Pimp, and this one won it out for me.
It's hard choices. I feel like Kendrick's new album wasn't quite as good as the previous few projects.
I feel like he was trying something with this, but he tried something with all of them. To be fair,
Yeah, I
mean,
hate
you can't all be winners, can they? At the end
And
of the
to be
day.
fair, it's still a good album, but maybe just not quite as good as the other ones, in my opinion. And I don't actually bump Damn that much. There's some big tracks off there, but I don't.
Humble for
I
me.
don't bump it. Yeah, Humble's.
Humble always comes in my playlist. Spotify loves fucking Humble.
Yeah, but then it was a big radio song on it. It was a big. Maybe that's why I don't like
and
it as much.
There's a Skrillex remix of it as well. It's not too bad.
I do not want to hear that.
No?
But anyway, I'll move on.
What the fuck? All right.
We're here. We're at the top 5.
Ooh, this is where it's going to get spicy. These are where sparks are going to fly.
Oh, I don't think you can question any of mine. So no
Do you not
sparks.
reckon?
Nah. Number 5, Outkast, Stankonia.
Oh, Stankonia. Is there another Outcast in your list? Do you want to
No.
give that? You've chosen Stankonia.
I've chosen Stankonia.
Okay, all right.
I prefer it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the homies Big Boy and Andre 3000. Andre recently said he might be doing another rap album,
He sure
which
fucking did.
I would love to see. We've seen him have some amazing features.
And he did his flute album recently as well,
Yeah,
didn't he?
I haven't actually checked that, but
No, I haven't. I don't know if I will.
it's not for me.
No.
Anyway, yeah, Stankonia, biggest tracks for me. You've got Miss Jackson, which you hear this at least once a week, just in public. Big fucking song. One of the most fun rap songs. Easy for all our white mothers to sing along to as well. They love it. It's true though, isn't it? And then you've got Gasoline Dreams. Amazing tune again. And another huge one, which is bumped all the time. Radio, public, wherever you are. So fresh, so clean.
So fresh, so clean.
I think Outkast needed a place on the list. And a lot of people... What's the other album? The one I haven't included.
80 Aliens.
Maybe not that. There's another album that they've got that people would probably pick over this. But
You mean the Speaker Box / Love Down Under, or whatever it is.
yeah, Speaker Box.
Yeah.
People say that is better, but I think this, because it's got the big bangers on, cannot be denied. And Outkast were a really unique rap duo. 3000 is still known as one of the best rappers. I don't hear much about Big Boy, really, though.
No, he just kind of... I don't think he fell off. I think he chose to not be in the public limelight as much, maybe. Yeah. But, you know, Andre was the driving force, but you can't doubt,
Big Boy's talent.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Also, controversial opinion, they only make it to 5th because I think they're slightly overrated, actually. I think Outkast are really good. Hear me out, though. But everyone puts them like 1st or 2nd. And I think for albums, as a full album, it's not that... It's good, but it's not top 2.
Okay. Yeah, all right. That's a fair comment.
For singles...
Because you said it's not top 2, and that's a very not bold statement.
No, but it is for most people. And it's not
I get
for me.
you. Yeah, I get you. I think out of all of their projects, Stankonia probably wouldn't be the one that I'd choose. I think I'd go with 80 Aliens.
Have you got
personally?
No. No Outkast?
No Outkast.
Ooh.
Oh, am I going to be Outkast?
Bro's got Aesop Rock and not Outkast.
My number 5 pick for an album. Here we go. Eminem.
Oh.
Number 5.
Number 5.
Number 5.
Yeah, it best not be fucking
Fucking
Kamikaze.
hell. Kamikaze.
What's number 5?
Number 5 is The Eminem Show, released in 2002. Okay, so this has such a diverse amount of songs on it. You know, there's fun ones, there's happy ones, there's joyful ones, there's emotional ones, there's ones for the radio, there's ones you can dance to. There's just fucking everything on this album, right? And he proves himself time and time again throughout this whole album that, you know, he can carry himself. He's proved it in the previous projects that he did, but this was something else. This was the best-selling album of all of his discography. So obviously, he
Still
did
sells to this
something
day.
right. Yeah. Sells really good
To this day.
numbers. And he produced in fact, nearly over half of the album himself.
Oh, I didn't
And
know
I
that.
think people underestimate him as a producer because he's just not really credited that much as a producer. And obviously he's known as a rapper because I would say he's definitely a better rapper than he is a producer. But that's not to say he's not a good producer as well. And I think he deserves more credit for the production work that he does. So for tracks on this album, top 3, Sing for the Moment, undeniable classic. Till I Collapse, undeniable classic. Without Me, undeniable classic. Honourable mentions.
You could say that.
Honourable mentions. Cleaning Out My Closet, White America, Business. The whole album, there's one weak song on there, which is Drips. And even that is a fucking bop. So out of every track, if you've only got one that's weak, and that's still a fucking phenomenal track, you've got yourself a great album there. And this isn't at number 5.
I have no arguments with this. I think it's a fantastic album. And I didn't know that Eminem produced half the songs. So that's a fun little fact for me. I don't think most people will know that, to be honest. Yeah, big ups. Deserves a spot. Top 5. I'm in at number 4. My number 4 is Eminem. The Slim Shady LP.
Oh, Slim Shady LP. Okay.
I think because it was Eminem's first proper solo album, to my knowledge. I know he did a project before that, but it wasn't like an album.
It was.
Infinite. Yeah, but it was his first, like, if you go on his albums now, this is the first one that's listed, right? And it's the first one that actually blew up. I knew you'd have some. I knew Infinite existed, but I didn't know if it was a full album.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Slim Shady LP was the first time that a lot of people got to hear Eminem and like his vulgarity, his lyrics that were absolutely wild. And I think my first pick for the top tracks really proved this, and that's Guilty Conscience.
Whoa.
The way that him and Dre are telling this story, bouncing off each other about like a paranoid person and speaking to themselves in the head. What a fucking song.
It's insane.
What a crazy idea for a song.
The fact that they've got, it's like 3 skits as a song, like back-to-back skits of them just chatting shit to each other. And like right at the end is like, oh, what am I talking about, Brady?
Yeah.
Where'd the gun at?
Fucking, it's just quality. And this is what I mean when I say people must have been listening to it at the time and thinking, who the fuck is this guy? What is going on here? Second top track for me is Brain Damage.
Brain Damage.
Again, really.
Since the day you were born.
Yeah.
Fucking
really strange story. I mean, it's fucking weird again. But
this was the inception of dissing his growing up, like with his parents and stuff like that. This was the inception of that.
But I think that this album really is Slim Shady. It kind of turned to Eminem after. I think this is the Slim, but it's like more Slim Shady than Eminem, where he's talking more personal in a weird way. This is having fun and telling these weird ass stories that slightly relate to some of his real life and experiences, but it's more just blown up, random.
Yeah. So this was actually a response to his terrible sales of Infinite, which was his first album. That was when he created the alter ego of Slim Shady and said, fuck this, I'm going to come out the gates and I'm going to tell everybody what the fuck I think. Laid it out on tracks, fucking popped off.
Banger. And the last track for me is Role Model.
Yeah, that can't be missed off there.
Again, just what an amazing album. It's still my favourite Eminem album to this day. I remember having this burnt on my Xbox 360, bumping it all the time when I was about 10, and I probably shouldn't have been listening to it.
I think that's everybody's experience with Eminem. Though.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. Tim, what's your number 4?
My number 4 here is the Wu-Tang Clan. So we're going with Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers. Now, this was released in 1993, which was... I don't know when I thought it was released, but I feel like that's earlier than I expected it to be. I thought it might have been late 90s, but to be early 90s and to hear what we were hearing, fucking amazing. There's 9 MCs on this project. 9 MCs. And on every track, you've got 9 MCs fucking swapping bars over the same beat throughout the whole track. 9 MCs. It's like, just getting that into your head. 9 people rapping on multiple tracks on a single album, and they managed to fucking like get it off with no hitches at all. That can't be frowned upon. That is just fucking...
And it's such cool production as well.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. Top tracks, Cream, Cash Rules, Everything Around Me.
Get the money.
Wu-Tang Clan, Ain't Nothing to F With.
Yep.
That's a fucking fire track. Another one.
It's just... I seen him live at Parklife last year, and I was with my mate who doesn't like rap really, and even he was like, "Oh, I know this song when Cream came on because it's just about still."
Yeah. It's just everywhere. And Protect Your Neck. You can't not have Protect Your Neck. Honourable mention, Bring the Ruckus. First track, fucking fantastic out the gate.
They really brought that
kicks you
ruckus
in the dick. Straight out the gates.
And this is one of those where if people are talking about rap, it's like you got to have listened to this.
Yeah.
If you're a rap fan or a hip hop, this more comes under hip hop. If you're a hip hop fan, you got to have listened to this album on repeat for a little bit and have got to have known it.
Yeah. It's just it has to be listened to.
A big belter.
Yeah.
That's why
That's number 4 though.
Number 4.
Now, where are we now? We're
Number
at fucking
3.
top 3 territory.
Top
this
3
is where it's squeaky bum time.
My top 3. Number 3. I just said 3 about 1,000 times.
What number is this one?
Huh?
Is this your third one? Number 3.
It is the Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh yeah.
Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers.
Oh come on. What year was that released?
we've just spoke about it. I have Cream and Protect Your Neck as 2 of my favourite tracks. And my actual favourite track off this album is The Mystery of Chess Boxing, because it's just a really cool instrumental with the like Japanese samurai stuff. And when I seen it live, it was cool. And it's a very unique track, but we've just kind of covered Wu-Tang as much as we can. Unbelievable group. A lot of the artists have done some fire individual tracks as well.
I mean, they've split off into their own stuff. You've got like Czarface, which is a couple of them that broke off and did their own shit. And you know, fucking Redman's always in films, and Method Man's always in films. Sorry, not Redman. But I think Redman's been in a couple of films. But you see him featuring on other artists. And I think getting a cosign from a member of Wu-Tang is such a big thing.
And their shirts are just about. People have got Wu-Tang shirts to this day.
And
they still sell them.
36 Chambers, you see that album cover fucking everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So big ups to Wu-Tang. They're my 3rd on the list. Tim, you can't argue with that because you had it 4th. What's your number 3? What is your number 3?
Is Nas. Which Nas album? Illmatic. Of course it fucking is, because it has to be in the top 3. And if you haven't got Nas Illmatic in your top 3, your list is incorrect. So this was just a fantastic album. It's very short and to the point. You know, you can listen to it. I think it's about 40 minutes long total. It's really not that much. But from top to bottom, you could start playing it and you wouldn't even know that you'd got to the end of it by the time it finished. It's just so easy to listen to. The replayability on it is great. It's infected styles that you'll even see today. If you listen back to that album, if you've not heard it before, you'll hear styles where you go, that sounds like what so-and-so does on this track, or that sounds like what this person does. It's all come from this album. And I mean, everybody agrees. I don't think there's going to be any angst on Illmatic.
Yeah, if you're leaving a hate comment on
Illmatic
being in there, you need to grow up for real.
Fucked. So, top 3 tracks. The World Is Yours, It Ain't Hard to Tell, and The Big Bop. NY, State of Mind.
I have 0 arguments or qualms with this. Unbelievable album. Nas is just a quality rapper. Even to this day, weirdly, this album didn't sell very well at the time.
No.
And none of his albums seem to have, but he's just quality. His flow is... It's inspirational to other rappers.
It genuinely is, though. It is. Yeah.
He's just... Yeah, he's sick.
Yeah, and that album has stood the test of time. And you can go back to it and you can feel what he was going for in that album. You can kind of feel the city that he wrote it in. It feels so visceral and real and just...
And in a weird way, it's like simple but effective.
Yeah. The storytelling on it, you know, it's like I was saying, it's not the shortest album in the world, but with how quickly it's done with, it feels like he knew what he wanted to do. He got it on paper and he said, that's it, take it. Let's see what happens. And 10 years, 20 years later, it's fucking seminal.
It's still happening.
Yeah, that's it.
It's still happening. Oh, 2.
Woo-hoo! Here we go, top 2. Now, this is where you were saying Outkast can't be in the top 2. So it's going to be very interesting who you're positioning higher than Outkast.
Number 2. Kanye West. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. You knew this would be in the list.
I knew it was coming.
Maybe people listening didn't know, but for me... This is undoubtedly the best rap album of the last 20 years, and amazing features throughout, big bangers throughout. This was Kanye West at his peak. The production is fucking sick throughout the whole album. It's just banger after banger after banger. Every feature works well. I saw the other day Rick Ross was on Logan Paul's podcast, I think it was, and he was saying how I wrote this verse and Kanye went, "Now you can do better. Come back." Went and did it. Was better. Sick verse. When you see my bitch, she give you ass a bone or something like that. It's something. It's not. I got that wrong in it, but it's something like that.
Fucking no.
Anyway, Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasies top 3 tracks for me. Number 1, and I think this is my favorite rap / hip hop song of all time, to be honest, and it's Runaway.
Yes, come on.
Runaway.
Come on.
It's just so good. The push exactly. Now Kanye can be on stage, just play that one note, crowd loses it.
I love it when he does that. That one where he just goes bing and then runs away. Yeah.
Did you see he came on with Travis Scott like a month or 2 ago now? He came out with him as a special guest at one of his gigs. Like in the middle of the Travis concert, just came out and they just played that note. Crowd fucking lost it, and then he walks out in the.
I think I did see that
in the mask.
Yeah.
Sick. Runaway is just the best rap song ever, and I don't think many people would even debate that. We'll put this as a shot. If Runaway isn't the best rap song ever, what is? Because you're wrong. Anyway,
there's no argument against it being the best Kanye track. Put it that way. You can't argue that.
Number 2 of the best songs on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is All of the Lights. All of the lights. I think I really love the beat on this song. The bass is really satisfying for some reason. That boo, boo, boo. I just love it. Rihanna feature. Fucking, come on. Like, what a song. This is what I'm saying, though. This whole album, I could say this for pretty much every song. And the last one is a very unique Ye track. One that's a bit angry, a little bit different, and that is Power.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's a fucking shout, that.
I don't think this can be debated at number 2.
No, but what you did say in that is that there's no way that anybody can debate that not being the best rap album of all time. But you put it in number 2.
No, I said of the last 20 years.
So the other one, right? Okay. This is interesting. This is interesting.
I said the best rap song for Runaway.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
But I said this is the best rap album of the last 20 years.
So that means it's 2004 earlier for your number 1 then.
Let's go.
So I've got an idea of what it is. So we're going in for my number 2 now. Woo! And this is going to be one where you're probably going to go. So number 2, best rap album of all time. We've got collaboration here.
I know what it is already.
MF Doom and Madlib coming through with Mad Villain. Mad Villainy. That album, the best. The fucking best. It cannot be argued. You've got 2 people at the peak of their creative game, arguably the most creative people in that genre at the time. Madlib making his fucking insane, crazy, weird beats that just flow and work so well. MF Doom with his insane lyricism, his crazy word schemes, how he puts stuff together. He does loads of wordplay. He uses, it's unreal when you hear him rapping and you'd like actually dissect the lyrics and get into it. He fits about 5 minutes worth of rap into 3-minute tracks. He just compresses it all down, whacks it in there. And there's some tracks on the album that like predominantly feature instrumentals, but the way that it's done is that from top to bottom, every track has a purpose, and it's to give, some kind of limelight to both MF Doom and Madlib equally. So throughout the album, it's, there's predominant focus on beats and the rhymes. So overall, this cannot be faulted, because the amount of people that state this as an inspiration, that state MF Doom as an inspiration, this is the album, I think, that got a lot of people thinking differently, working differently, moving differently.
I love the passion. It's a fantastic album.
It is. It fucking is.
That's what even get me going. No. I knew you'd have.
I'm glad.
I knew for a fact you'd have MF Doom on here. Yeah. I'm happy you haven't said Hobo Johnson. That's all I'm proud about. But MF Doom, he's not on my list. He's not my number 1. No. But I can see why most people would have him. I think his flows, the uniqueness of some of his songs, the way he did things.
I get it. It's this album.
That's part of the reason that he's not on mine, because I feel like it's too underground. It's too.
So that's the thing. So with MF Doom as a whole, I'd agree that perhaps he wouldn't end up on that list. But with this album, with it being a collaboration with Madlib and them both working together for it, it's not just the beats, because obviously he's a producer and a rapper. If he's going as a rapper, it's Metal Face Doom. If he's a DJ or producer, it's Metal Fingers Doom.
Okay.
Well, that's what the MF stands for. Anyway.
Top tracks.
Meat Grinder, fucking amazing. Accordion, again, fucking amazing. All caps. Remember all caps when you spell the man's name. Don't
All
forget.
right.
Don't fucking forget. Honourable mentions, Figaro and Raid. I could mention every track off this album if I wanted to and put it in the top list. I'm not going to, but I could. And I think that anybody out there that hasn't listened to this album needs to go and fucking listen to it as soon as possible.
The thing is, I can even see the cover in my head, and I have listened to it before, but it just, for me, it's too unique still, too out there for me to have it in my personal top 10 list.
I think the reason why it's so high up mine as well is because you've got all these seminal albums over here, and realistically, Mad Villainy is so far to the left of them that it stands out on its own because there's nothing else over there. There's nothing else that compares to it. All these, yeah, fantastic. All your top 10 albums. This is just in its own lane, so it just can't be compared. I don't think.
I'm not hating. I'm not hating at all. It's number one time.
Here we go. Number one rap album of all time. Joe.
I'm not ready for it.
Are you not ready for it?
I'm not ready for it.
I wonder if we've got the same one. Because there's a possibility we have.
We don't.
No?
My number one is Nas, Illmatic.
Oh, we don't then. No, we don't.
I knew we didn't because you already had it on there. We already covered it with your statement, but I think that this was a game-changing rap album, a rap album that still to this day can be listened to in full and is just unbelievable. Anyone can get different messages from it. There's different types of tracks on there with different vibes. Nas has been massively underappreciated, and I feel like maybe massive or real whatever hip-hop fans all know about him, but the masses don't so much other than a couple of his bigger tracks. I think that this is a deserved number one, and I don't really have much more to say on it. My top tracks are The World Is Yours, Big Banger, Memory Lane, which maybe a lot of people wouldn't have on there, but I personally really enjoy. And then the one that everyone's going to have, New York State of Mind, NY State of Mind. Nas' probably biggest track and the one that most people will know him for. But if you don't know about Illmatic, I'll be surprised if you made it to this point in the podcast, to be honest.
Why are you still listening?
But if you don't, go check it out. You won't regret it.
No more needs to be said on that.
That's it. What's your number one, Tim?
Eminem. But which one? Joe? Which one? Have a guess.
Well, if it's Eminem that's left, it's got to be Slim Shady LP.
Eminem, the Marshall Mathers LP. Number one all time. Number one of all time.
No.
What's wrong with that now?
No.
I knew you'd have some fucking weird issue. I'm going to give you many reasons as to why this beats out SSLP in a second. But I just want to know why you're so offended by that out the bat.
Just in my head, it's not even one of Eminem's top two albums, maybe third. So the fact that it's first in the list.
Can I just say one word in terms of influential and changing the game and all that stuff? One word. You ready for this? Stan. Do I need to say any more words? That's it. Thanks for listening, guys. It's the end of the episode.
Stan is a fucking belter, and it's such a unique track, an emotional song, but number one, brother. You're telling me as an album, this is better than Illmatic. You didn't even have Beautiful Dark Twisted on the list?
No, I didn't have Beautiful Dark Twisted on the list. No, but you're doing this thing again. You're doing this thing where you've gone through the list and you go, well, my list is obviously the right list. How can your list be that? But both of the lists
I've agreed with you up to this point.
Is it or is it not most influential?
But it's the best.
Best most influential albums.
No, this is the first time we've said most influential.
Go back and listen to the Pop Punk episode, bro.
Yeah, but this isn't Slim Shady LP is more influential than this. And what was the other one you said? The Eminem Show?
Yeah.
That's more influential than this. That's got more individual big bangers on.
No.
All right, you go into this one.
Okay, so this is the greatest album by the greatest rapper. So already, it's number one. It has to be. Second best selling album, though. 25 million copies, which puts it at number 2 on the highest selling rap albums list behind Eminem. So, man's up there. Man's doing the numbers. This is the thing. With the rap albums list, technically, Speakerbox and what's it called? Speaker box and the Love Below, that was it, is technically classed as 2 sales per unit because it's a double disc, because it's a double album. So that beats out both of M's technically, but whether you count that or not is a different story. And this is just, it's a landmark in music history. There's no going back after this. Once this album was released, everything changed after that. We've got from the top ones. We'll go through them. There's a fair few. Stan.
Yeah.
Seminal. The Way I Am.
I have no problem with Stan.
The Way I Am. Seminal. What do you mean? What do you mean?
I don't even know it, brother.
If I wasn't, then why would I say
all
I
right,
am?
yeah, I do.
Right, of course you do.
I just drew a blank for a second. I'm just that angry that I'm just...
The real Slim Shady.
Yeah, it's a
Are
big
you telling me
tune.
those 3 tracks alone? Name a track off Eminem show that's bigger than
Without Me.
Stan.
Without Me.
Stan.
Anyway,
Name another.
continue.
Name another.
I'm
Eminem
not the
show
big Eminem
track.
fanboy. You just
No,
try to catch me out.
I'm not.
here.
No, I know. I'm trying to argue
I know what
your
you're
point
doing.
that the Eminem show is bigger.
I know what you're doing.
Get fucked. The Way I Am, the real Slim Shady. Honourable mentions. We've got a few here, so just bear with me. Bitch Please, featuring Dre, Snoop, Exhibit, Nate Dogg, R.I.P. Kill You.
Yeah, I do quite like that.
Who Knew? I'm Back. Under the Influence, D12.
You must have been under the influence when you put this at number 1.
How?
I carry on. Sorry.
I don't want to keep going with this rhetoric now because I'm upset.
The thing is, I'm actually really happy. I'm really quite impressed this time round because you've had a fucking good run.
Oh, fuck off. What do you mean?
Up to this.
Just because you fucking sold out and put Illmatic at number 1. Just
How's
because you're
that
like,
me?
that's clearly the best album. Yeah, it's the best album. But you done it again. You done it again. It's like, yeah, obviously it's the best album. It's like putting Dookie up there at
How
number
can you
1.
say obviously? I didn't put Dookie at number 1 either.
Oh, you put it in number 2.
How can you say obviously it's the best album and then not have it as the best album?
Because it's just not.
You just said obviously it's the best album.
Well, no, I was saying what you were saying, man.
All right.
I just think, personally, on a personal level, I don't think that I listen to Illmatic or have as much respect for Illmatic as I do for these other projects.
Okay.
So I couldn't wholeheartedly put Illmatic at the top of my list because I don't listen to it enough. I don't bump it enough. I don't have it on enough. I know it's a fucking seminal album, but me personally, it's not my number 1 album.
Okay, that's valid. And I mean, this is a good album.
That's it. Should we move on to honourable mentions of albums here?
No, but I just want to say that I do think that both of our lists this time round have been pretty strong.
They have been strong. They've been very strong.
I think,
yeah.
especially in that top 5, we were just interchanging at
Yeah,
one point.
yeah, we were. Yeah,
So, yeah.
So I'm quite happy with the outcome, to be fair, of both lists.
Yeah, even the number 1, it isn't as criminal as your shouts in the pop punk.
I'll accept that. I'll accept that.
It's more.
I'll accept that because it is the number 1 album, so I'll accept what you're saying. Yeah.
All right.
I'm really surprised that you didn't put My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy at like 2nd or even 1st.
I did put it at 2nd.
Oh, is it 2nd?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't put it 1st.
Nah, I thought about it.
That's what I think personally. I know it's your list. I think you should have put that 1st. Because I don't think you listen to Illmatic as much as you would with.
No, I don't. But I Beautiful Dark Twisted, I listened to probably The Life of Pablo more than I listened to that. But I appreciate still that it didn't have... The Life of Pablo didn't have as big an impact as Beautiful did. So I can't put that higher just because I listened to it more. Because it's not... Like, to me, I prefer some tracks off Pablo, but I know in my heart that Beautiful is a better album. So that goes higher. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying.
Like, I'd probably have Kids See Ghost in there if it was just on, like, my personal...
Do you know how close I was to include in that?
That's a belter, but it's
so close.
It's short. It's quite like personal, and I feel like if you don't know about the connection between Cudi and Kanye, it probably don't mean as much. So I couldn't put it in there. But honourable mentions. I had no UK rappers in my top 10.
See, that's interesting because I was expecting the Streets from you.
No, I'm happy you had one in there, and this was so close to replacing Dr. Dre. You know, I had it in there, and I changed it at one point.
If you didn't have the Chronic 2 in your list, I don't know what I would have done.
Probably nothing. You wouldn't have even noticed. Anyway,
I definitely would have.
My first honourable mention, so close to getting in the top 10, is Boy in the Corner by Dizzy Rascal.
Yes, now.
A rap album that most people in the UK know about, and I feel like maybe it's broke America a little bit, but I don't think people realise Dizzy Rascal was the first big UK rapper. He was the first one in this like newer wave of grime, etc. that album was huge. It fucking broke records in terms of the charts for UK rappers. It has some fucking big tunes on it. He just split off from Wiley, and I think Wiley was involved in some of the production and stuff for this album. But Dizzy Rascal, I don't think he gets talked about enough. When people talk about UK rap and grime and the new wave of it, which really started in my eyes in like 2012, people think of like Skepta, Boy Better Know, JME.
Stormzy.
Yeah, Stormzy, but even Stormzy came a little bit later. I think people, maybe Chip gets talked about a lot in that era.
Yeah.
But Boy in the Corner was before this, and it was huge. And Dizzy Rascal has continued to produce quality albums from this point. Got a really unique flow and sound as well. So,
what's really interesting about Dizzy as well is that all of his tracks are like big tracks, radio play, you know, adverts.
Well, not anymore. But
no, but they were massive. But his name, you're right, it never really gets brought up. He did E3AF recently.
Yeah.
That was
he released a new album
amazing.
2 months ago, bro.
Did he?
He's banned from radio and shit, though, because he has done some questionable things.
Right. Oh, it was one of them. Okay, yeah. But I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. That's a good shout. Didn't think of that.
Honourable mention for you, Timothy?
Honourable mention. We'll go with Childish Gambino because the internet. So this was initially in my list at the very bottom end. I think it was like number 9 or something like that. But I ended up switching it out because I thought as a whole, the project probably wasn't as influential and as big as, you know, some other artists because he did come into the game quite late. I think this is, 2013 this was released. So the game's been played by that point. He's come in and he has added some twists and turns to it. And I just think it is a great album. And I think Childish Gambino is, I wouldn't say he's underrated by any means, but I do think that his name isn't brought into in the same way as Dizzy Rascal. I don't think he's spoke about enough in the rap game.
I get you, actually.
For the music that he's produced. And the work that he's done. I mean, This Is America in itself was fucking insane. Yeah. The amount of like work that did for communities and shit like that. And he just gets no credit for it. But top 3 tracks, I would say, are The Worst Guys featuring Chance the Rapper before he just upped and fucked off because he just fell off so hard, Chance the Rapper. Sweatpants. And 3005. It's got to be on there.
Yeah, 3005 is cool.
3005.
It's a cool song.
The music video for 3005 is sick. Where they're going around on the Ferris wheel with a teddy bear.
Oh, I don't remember it.
And it's just so simple but so effective.
Okay.
And it's, I think that's a
good shout.
Fantastic album.
I don't have top 3 tracks in my honourable mentions, but I do for this one because at one point this was in my list. And I think a lot of people will be real vexed that we don't have this man in either of our top 10 lists.
Can I guess who it might be? Neither of us have got it in.
Legend. Neither of us said him.
No, go on.
Jay-Z.
Blueprint.
I put the Blueprint 3. Hear me out.
3?
Weird, I know. This is a personal one. So the Blueprint, the first one, is more influential in the rap game. But the Blueprint 3 came out like 2009, 2010. And I think it really epitomized what sound was being put out by a lot of rappers in the rap game in that moment in time. I've got 3 tracks from it. You've got Rihanna. Well, not Rihanna. You've got Empire State of Mind with Alicia Keys. It's because Rihanna's on the line above. Empire State of Mind with Alicia Keys, which every episode.
Which is a callback to Illmatic.
I actually hate that song now, though.
Oh.
Because when I was in New York, everywhere was just playing it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell. Still.
Well, it's like, New York.
Yeah, I know.
Bro,
I know.
Every single street seller and someone trying to get you to buy a photograph, or they'd have them like 360 video things, just playing this song.
Fucking hell.
And they just put the is it Alicia Keys bit on repeat?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the concrete jungle.
Yeah, literally. I heard that about 1 million times. I think anyone that's been to New York will appreciate how annoying that is.
What does that mean? Concrete jungle, where dreams are made of. Is that the lyrics or is it up? Because up doesn't make sense and where doesn't make sense for that either. That's annoying.
Concrete jungle, where dreams are made of. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. You get what she's
does,
going with.
Yeah, but
next track, I've only got 2 actually. That's why I got confused with the Rihanna line. Is Run This Town, which does feature Rihanna.
Yeah.
Fucking what a tune. I think it's Kanye's in it as well, Run This Town.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
There's another rapper.
But I just think that this album, it's a lot of people will say, well, that's obviously not Jay-Z's best album. And in a weird way, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I think Jay-Z at this point had reached like commercially the height that he was going to get to because these tracks were fucking huge. And it really was in the moment. And another thing I want to say is the features on this at the time were just perfect. You had Kanye, Drake, J. Cole before he'd ever released an album, which is fucking mental. Like, he knew about him, got him on there. Kid Cudi, Rihanna, it's just Alicia Keys. It's just a great album, and I'm quite surprised that neither of us had Jay, but I think it's for good reason. I think that people who are putting Jay-Z in the top 10 lists are chatting shit. No one's listening to those albums anymore. They aren't.
No, I personally don't think that the Blueprint has much replayability. I think it's one of those where you listen to it and you go, that were a fucking good album, but you're not coming back to it every other day and going, what was that track again? What's this, that, and the other? There's one track off Blueprint that I really like. I can't remember which one it is, but that goes to show that it's not as, as big. Maybe it's just us. Maybe we just don't like it, but I agree with you. We'll go on to my second honourable mention, which is Mr. West. Wake up, Mr. West! Kanye West, The College Dropout.
All right.
Top 3 tracks, All Falls Down, Jesus Walks, Through the Wire.
Yes.
No cap, like literally the same fucking 3, because of course they are. You can't choose any of the tracks, and exactly what you were saying, this came into the game, this fucking shook shit up. People started biting on his style and going, oh shit, who's this kid in the polo? Let's find out what's going on. And yeah, it went from there, didn't it? I think
it did.
You just can't fault that.
It's fucking top tier.
Yeah.
My third, I actually have, can I just shout out, I've got one on here, and I don't know why it's on here because it's not meant to be, but it should be. It's The Infamous by Mobb Deep.
Ooh.
It's not the one I want to go into,
yeah.
but the beats and the vibe on that album,
Shook
really
Ones,
good.
Part
Shook
2.
Ones. But my actual third honourable mention, another one which it could have been in the top 10, but more for me personally, I'm not bumping it, but a lot of the boys were pissed off when I was telling them about this, that I didn't have it in there. And it is 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying.
So people were pissed off that it was in there.
No, that it's not in my top 10. That
Right,
it's just
yeah,
an
okay,
honourable mention.
yeah, okay.
Obviously, 50 Cent's biggest album, by far his best. I'm just not a huge 50 fan. I don't know what it is,
I'm not.
but I just aren't. And I can see why people would claim this should be in there. At this time, 50 was getting slapped about by Kanye in the charts. It was just like, I don't know. It does have some big bangers on, but
This was the album that went against College Dropout, was it?
I can't remember if it was this or the next one.
There
but
was an album at the time, but they both were beefing with each other strongly in media and everything, saying like, who's this Kanye guy? He's not going to outsell my album. And then he fucking did. And 50's there going, oh, shit. Yeah. But I agree. I'm not personally the biggest fan in the world of 50 Cent, but I do enjoy his music.
I think also because of the movie that came along because of this album. Makes sense that a lot of people love it because they'll watch the film.
True. Yeah, and its soundtrack, yeah. I think that, personally, I think his music's more aimed towards like club type beats, and I'm just not personally into that. I'm more into it for the lyricism and that. I'm not saying he's not a lyricist. He is. He's fantastic and co-signed by Eminem, so I legally can't hate him. So, I agree though. I don't think he's top 10 worthy. My third honourable mention is one that, again, a lot of people are going to be like, how has this group not even been mentioned? Group. There's 2 groups big in the 90s. One of them was Wu-Tang Clan. The other one was NWA.
I was going to say D-Generation X.
What the fuck? Okay, so NWA, Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah.
It just can't be faulted. It was so close to being at like 7, 6 around there, purely because of the tracks. Straight Outta Compton, crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube. Fuck the Police and Gangster. It's
just not my style of rap. It's just like the lyrics and stuff isn't what I want to be chilling listening to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I get that. Yeah. So that in itself is one of the reasons why it didn't make it into my top 10 at the end, because me personally, I was like, I like the majority of songs on this album. Would I listen to them on a frequent basis? Probably not. But would they be in my playlist? Yeah, sure, definitely.
Valid.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we've smashed it here,
I
mate.
think we've done all right.
I think we've done good. Should we give, for the people, a quick recap of our top 10 albums?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's weird, though, because I actually have the name of the album first, so I'm just going to do it that way when I'm reading it. Yeah. So, my top 10 rap albums of all time. 10th, 2001, or The Chronic 2 by Dr. Dre. 9th, The College Dropout by Kanye West. 8th, Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar. 7th, All Eyes on Me by Tupac. 6th, Ready to Die by the Notorious B.I.G. or Biggie. 5th, Stankonia by Outkast. Fourth, the Slim Shady LP by Eminem. Third, Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers by the Wu-Tang Clan. Second, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West. And first is Illmatic by Nas. Undeniable. Couple of honourable mentions. I had Boy in the Corner by Dizzy Rascal, great UK rap album. The Infamous by Mobb Deep. Get Rich or Die Trying by 50 Cent. And The Blueprint 3 by Jay-Z.
It's a solid list, I cannot lie. And the one thing I'm just thinking now as I'm reading my list in my head is all the comments about the Streets being in at number 10. And I can't wait to fucking see what people have got to say.
To be fair, actually, when I think about it, like I rate the Streets, but people in America will be like, who the fuck are they?
Yeah.
And also, it is a bit wild to have the Streets, A$AP Rock, and your number one pick at number one. When I deep like the albums that aren't on there, but then I don't disagree with the Streets. And I know that A$AP Rock is influential. I just don't really know him. Mm-hmm. So
that's fair enough. Yeah. Let's go through my top 10 list. So should I do it in the same way? Album and then artist?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
These are my top 10 rap albums of all time. Number 10, we've got Original Pirate Material by The Streets. Number 9, we've got Labor Days, A$AP Rock. Number 8 is License to Ill by the Beastie Boys.
I don't know why I'm laughing. I just heard the A$AP Rock and it made me start giggling.
Number 7, 2001, The Chronic 2 by Dr. Dre. Number 6, Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick Lamar. Number 5, The Eminem Show, Eminem. Number 4, Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers by Wu-Tang Clan. Number 3, Illmatic by Nas. Number 2, Mad Villainy by Mad Villain / MF Doom and Madlib. Number 1, the Marshall Mathers LP by Eminem. And some honourable mentions, Because the Internet by Childish Gambino, The College Dropout by Kanye West, and Straight Outta Compton by NWA. I think those are two pretty decent lists, personally.
I think it's fire. I think if the Bananas were in pajamas and they ran down the stairs, they'd agree with that list.
They would fucking agree. I wish you'd stop saying that, man.
What do you mean?
You just say it all the fucking time. Why does it always come? Is it like your little like tick? Have you got
anyway? I also think that
we took offence. I'm sorry. Keep saying it. I'm sorry.
The Linkin Park Jay-Z Collision Course collab was really close to making it on my list as well.
Me too.
But it's not. It's not really rap.
It's not.
So I couldn't
because
put it
was
there.
just repurposed verses over Linkin Park's instrumental.
But what a fucking elite level album that is. That could easily be in a top 10, but it's just not going to be classed as rap. And I know we'd have all the Nas boys going.
Yeah, all the way through.
So it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Smashed it. Have you got all else you want to share with the homies before we call it a day? Any updates in life?
Album of the week.
Oh, album of the week, yeah.
Oh, it's your fucking dig, you dickhead. You made me sit here before the episode, come up with an album of the week, and he goes, you got anything else to say at the end? Yeah, I do. Actually.
Album of the week.
Yeah. Have you got yours?
I have mine. It's in my head. I don't have top tracks I wrote for it. This is a new thing we're going to do weekly. Where just an album we've been bumping that we really enjoy.
Doesn't have to be a new album.
No, it can just be anything that we're loving at the minute. Mine is a relatively new album, and it's by an artist that I have previously slagged off on the podcast.
Uh-oh.
And said that I don't really like.
Ooh. It's Scar. It's Scar. He's been listening to Scar music.
Not Scar.
Real Big Fish.
No, it's not that. It's actually Idols.
Ooh,
and
okay.
Their latest new album, which is called Tank, spelled Tangk, which is really weird, but Tank. It's just a good album. It's a little bit less angry than a lot of the previous Idols projects, but angry enough where it's not offensive. There's a couple tracks where there's a bit of grit to it. Do you know what I mean?
Angry enough where it's not offensive.
Yeah, no, but it's not angry for the sake of being angry. There's a really good LCD sound system feature on one of the tunes. Weird.
That's so weird.
I know, but yeah, if you don't know about the new Idols album, Tank, it's a bit more emotion to it. There's a bit more personal connection in comparison to the previous works that I've listened to. Maybe I just haven't listened to enough, but I actually bought an Idols album on vinyl, which I never thought I'd do.
Vitals. No.
On that note, Tim, what's your album of the week?
So my album of the week this week, we've got Rom-Com by Jakey. So Jakey
JK?
Jakey.
The Birmingham rapper?
No. It's called Jakey.
Oh.
Like Jake. E.
I thought you meant the Birmingham UK rapper. I was like, really?
No, that's why I said Jakey and not JK.
I do like JK as well, though. I'm not dissing him, but I'm just surprised.
My album of the week. Let me start again. Fucking hell. My album of the week this week is Rom-Com by Jakey. So this is a very well thought album, and it's been in the works for a very long time. Jakey is also a YouTuber who goes by the name of Nakey Jakey. So when he first started releasing singles as Jakey, I had those, like, I was bumping them on Spotify before I watched his YouTube channel. I then went on YouTube years later and found this great YouTuber called Nakey Jakey, who I started watching. And it wasn't until about 6 months into it that I went, holy shit, this guy that I found on Spotify is the guy that I'm now watching on YouTube. And I think it was just because he mentioned that he'd done music that I went, oh, I wonder what his music is. And it all linked up. And like, it was a proper mind-blowing moment because I connected with both mediums of his art that he'd created.
Individually.
And I was like, holy shit, this guy is great.
That's cool.
So he dropped this album, I think it was 2021. I think it was like 3 years ago now. And you know, you can tell he's put a lot of effort into it. You can tell he's been writing these songs for a while. The tracks are great. He's produced it all himself. He's done the rapping on it. He's EQ'd everything. It's all him. And yeah, it's just, I think everybody should give it a shot. I think it's a great project.
Never heard of it. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
That's it. Album of the week.
It. Oh,
Done.
Haha.
That's it. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much for listening. Hope you liked our top 10s. You didn't last time. Well, you didn't like mine.
Liked mine.
Yeah,
if you've
YouTube
got
liked
to
mine.
this point, like, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, leave us a rating. Just do all of it.
Everything.
And we'll pay you back with love.
Yeah. Tell everybody to do the same thing.
Yeah, send it to your boys.
Yeah.
If you agreed with the list, send it to your boys. If you didn't agree with the list, send it to your parents.
Send it to your boys and say, look how shit these guys are. Just send it out, you know what I mean?
That'll do. Peace. Thanks for watching.